Ooh, sing it.
Hiccups, hug me when you need me. Because you're not a real singer if you don't make the stank face.
Wow.
I didn't see. I was away from the screen. Didn't even see the face that goes with the
you didn't
notes.
see
Now
that. Yeah.
together in tandem, it's
You like that, right?
Even
That's
worse.
lit.
Even worse.
yeah, not too much.
Okay, Mo.
Ooh.
Hey,
Don't do me.
hot sauce. Did you peep? I'm back off the wagon after 6 years. I'm sick.
Oh,
Wow.
I saw, and you're drinking Corona, no virus.
During the coronavirus.
Get it?
And I
Wow.
had some Henny privilege last night too.
Oh, so
What changed? What's going on?
So, okay, a little backstory. So, ever since I met Carlos, and obviously,
and you were drunk. You were drunk when you met me.
I was not drunk. I was
publicly drunk, publicly intoxicated outside Daryl's corner bar and kitchen.
Wow.
I wasn't super drunk though. I was just regular.
I didn't say super.
Just tipsy.
I didn't say super.
I'm just saying. And did I offer to buy you a drink, or I say what do you? Oh no, you had the glass.
No, after I shared my Black and Mild with you as a stranger, and we went back inside, then you offered.
That was intense.
Wow. I didn't know I didn't know him from a hole in the wall. Wow. I was just like, yo, let me get that. And he was so you were so nice to just be like.
I knew who you were. I didn't know who you were, but I had been listening to the podcast prior, so I knew who I was dealing with.
Ooh.
Oh, didn't you meet us both at the same time?
Yes, you were there. It was like we were there. Why were we there?
It was Halloween.
Yeah, I think because I remember Counselor Tito Jackson, Marv, and Dell were out there too.
That was a good night.
That was a good night. I was dressed up.
Brought us pizza from the corner from the pizza shop.
Yeah. That was a good night.
That was a good night.
I wasn't there.
The way they're smiling makes me think that they had a night afterwards.
Right. It sounds like it was something different.
How would I even remember? As far as I know, you were pregnant and you wouldn't drink, and you never have drunken. you have never drank as long as I have known you, and now you're having
you're an alky. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You're having a brew.
Yeah. So I was, when I was falsely accused and they had me on probation for 2 years. Once I realized that the system was that fucked up, I didn't want to be vulnerable to somebody putting me in another bad situation, whether it was a stranger on the street or whatever. I wanted to be as sharp as I could be all the time. So I just let it go while I was on probation. And then after 2 years, I'm like, oh, look how much money I saved and look how much healthier I feel.
Right.
I just kept it going for a little while. This New Year's, I happened to toast with my girlfriend at the time. And she was like, listen, you're not on probation. Your life is different. I'd like you to be able to enjoy a cocktail with me from here, every now and then. So, yeah.
That's what's up.
That's dope.
Nice.
Everything in moderation.
And how has it been? Like, how has it been, getting...
I'm weak.
You're a lightweight.
I have one finger of scotch or one finger of cognac and one beer, and that's it. And already I'm slowing down. I'll be oozing in the seat like.
What's your vice of choice?
I prefer a single malt scotch.
Ooh, okay. I like it.
My mother turned me on to that back in the day. Real classy, like.
I like it.
That is
with
classy.
Ice or still?
I like
with frozen cubes, not ice though. You can put stones or metal in there.
Aren't we fancy?
Yeah,
that is
we are this emoji.
The last thing you want to do is add water to a 12-year-old single malt.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
You just
want to know what that means. I just drink it.
Wow.
Drink it all.
All right.
Give it to me. Gonna drink it.
Toast to that.
Right. I got my Henny and my tea. Nice.
Oh, man, I don't even have a damn drink. Anyways, welcome to another serving of Henny and Hotwings, where the show clearly just starts whenever it feels like starting, without an introduction from anybody or
nobody
for anything. Today's episode of Henny and Hotwings is brought to you by.
What was it brought to you by?
Boop.
Naturally.
Hold up. Everybody got samples but me?
Except for you. Except for you.
What happened was
am I not ashy enough to get a sample?
Oh yeah, we were just talking about how you were ashy. But Naturally is from our friend Eunice's brand. She is a Black female-owned business who is taking care of the environment with her natural body butters.
So I make sure to take a shower and not lotion myself so that I can try it live here on the show.
Okay.
Okay, do it.
Live I'm really demo. Ashy right now, so we're gonna do this.
Lotion all over your body.
Ooh, it's got a nice texture to it.
Yep.
Y'all see the glow that immediately?
Okay,
immediately.
Okay.
Immediately.
Look at that. Hot sauce done turned the lights down low.
We're getting sexual in here today. Yes, for this body butter. I'm here for it. It smells. So this flavor is mango and coconut, two of my favorite flavors.
Girl.
Oh, and it smells like magic. I want to eat it.
It does. It smells like something.
I want to eat. Maybe my lover will want to eat it off of me. Ooh.
How does it absorb? Is it oily, sticky? Does it absorb well?
It's very smooth. You see the shine is there, but it's not too oily. I'm still rubbing it in.
It's not greasy at all.
It's got a good consistency.
Nice.
Yeah. Most people usually compliment me on my skin being really amazing, and usually I credit genetics and also naturally. My go-to flavor is the cocoa. So I usually apply it on my face right before I put on foundation or any type of makeup, or if
like a primer even too?
Yeah, so I use it as my moisturizer. And then if I'm not even gonna put on any makeup, then it's usually just straight naturally on my face.
You see the glow.
I would say your face right now is looking very well.
You got it on right now, bro.
Naturally, baby.
All right now.
I always have it on.
So shout out to Naturally. Let's see right here.
So right now, 20% of all of the proceeds between now and July 22nd are going to support Woke Vote, whose work supports civic engagement and cultivating an active voting community among the historically disengaged. So, I know the company Naturally really does a good job at not only promoting sustainability so that the environment can be healthy, but is also very civically engaged. I think one episode she came on with Los and we politicked a lot.
Yeah, so that was her too.
So these are the things that I know that this brand is very much involved in on a regular basis. And so we're glad that, they were able to sponsor our episode this evening.
Dope.
I'm really excited about it, because even right now I can't stop smelling myself.
It smells so good. Like, oh my gosh.
Smell yourself.
So Los, we've been reminiscing this whole time. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, what you're involved with, and how people know you?
Who I am, or who am I? Because who I am is a deeper, but who I am. No,
I can't.
Everybody that's tuned in right now, shout outs to all you guys. Make sure you give it a little share so we can spread the word that this is happening, because this is going to be good tonight, people. It's going to be good.
It's going to be
so. I'm just a brother from Roxbury, mid 40-year-old Black man of Latino descent, born and raised in the Roxbury area of Boston, in a household that was very civically active, which led to my service in the city of Boston in different roles, from community organizer to elected official to community activist, and a lot of things in between, like youth worker and whatnot, and also entrepreneur and business owner right now. So those are just some of the things that make me who I am. But I think I'm a product of genetics and my environment. And I think I'm talking to you guys because of our strange meeting that we talked about at the beginning of the show. But this continued friendship, which has been fantastic with the ladies, especially even meeting you, Miss Mo, more recently. And I'm just trying to really continue trying to figure out what my niche is as a Black man growing older in this world and in this country. So that's a little bit about me.
I love that.
That was a good intro. I really liked that one.
Elevator speech, kind of.
Yeah.
I
gotta
I've been trying to learn kind of some of those. So we'll just hop right into what's going on these days.
Jesus,
Carlos
so
is
much.
gonna lend us some insight. You'll help to lend some commentary. You know how this works.
You know the giddy up.
He keeps it really real. Okay, so Carlos is one of the people that I call if I'm having problems deciphering the mind of a man.
Oh, every woman needs a friend like that.
Yeah, you need somebody who will keep it 100,
a buck,
100, tell you the different angles that it can come from, be able to figure out through a series of questions where he needs to lend his advice, and then he gets it from there. So it's going to be a really great episode where, maybe we can get some insight. Starting with the fact that, so we're all still internet dating. When we first,
all of us.
When we first started this venture live, I think we all decided like collectively to just come out here and just give it a shot.
Shout it out.
Right.
Dibbling and dabbling it over the years, but now we are all actively. Well, I have quit since then.
You and me both, sis. You and me both.
So we'll get into me. We started with me last time, so I'll go last this time. Jill Badu, how is dating? Okay, Glowy. But tell us how it's
Glowy.
Shout out to Naturally.
Yes.
Y'all not about to play me all night. So, I mean, this week was good. You had an opportunity to meet the guy that I'm currently seeing. What were you talking? We didn't even debrief after you left.
Just the one in the picture? The one in the picture?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you met him, hot sauce?
I did. And and it was good meeting him. I've heard a lot about him.
I ain't hear nothing about him.
Uh-oh.
I know. Los is like, fill me in.
Pause.
I heard a lot about him, and I spoke to him once when he first was coming to visit her the first time. I had to threaten his life, get all of his information, make sure that he knew that I would find him and hunt him down and kill him if he did anything to my wife.
Right.
And we had a really good conversation. He was very cool, very smooth. And this time when I met him, again, under different circumstances, he was also still very cool and almost.
Wait a minute. I don't know if I can let you brush past that. I don't know.
I hate a nigga who's I hate a nigga who's cool under pressure. This is one it's on my nerves. Like, you're always cool. Come on, man.
Yeah, like he's always cool, even when he knows that things might not be cool. And I would have to admit that I tried to warn him upon my leaving that he might.
What did you say to him?
I said,
save yourself.
I feel like we're in an inside joke that we haven't been joined in on. What was the
there's no inside joke. I mean, so he lives out of town, and so that's one of the challenges of, I guess,
out of town, like flying, or out of town like driving. I mean, I know some people will drive 9 hours, but I know not everybody will drive 9.
Yeah, I've driven less. I've driven more for way less, but but yeah, it's like a 3-hour drive.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah, it's long distance. It's long distance enough that you got to plan for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not like Lynn. I thought you were talking about, out of town, you were dating a dude from Lynn or Lawrence.
Not Lynn. I quit.
No, I would say out of state, but it's new, so we're still navigating a lot of challenging waters. But things are going well.
That's nice.
Okay. I don't know if Hot Sauce knows she's muted. I wonder if she knows.
No, I was having.
She knows. She was cussing out her kid.
Oh, man.
So okay, all right. So it's good. Everything's good.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
Sure.
I mean, can we circle back for the scary moments, or should we just wait?
Yeah, I feel like I want to know.
Circle back on what? The scary moments?
You mentioned a few scary moments and someone that's too cool all the time.
Yeah.
You made a little reference, but I don't know whether we should dig a little bit or whether we should let that go. You want to let it go?
I mean, no, it's fine. I just you know,
a lot there. Go ahead, take your time with it.
Is he tuned in? Is he tuned in right now?
We can ease it into it. Communication. And
yeah,
so how we feel it's, you know, especially about, you know, like when you have somebody thinking you're going to call them every day consistently, and this is not her story, but this is just the premise of it.
Okay.
When somebody puts you in like
y'all schooled me on it before.
Yeah, but Mo, just to catch Mo up on we did an episode where we have to explain to callers that when you start talking to someone and you say you speak to them every single day, and then maybe you speak to them several times a day, and then one day you speak to him like maybe in the morning, and you don't hear from him again until maybe even the next day, or the next or latest that evening.
He must have been dead, like legit.
Like you literally had to die and come back.
Always my go-to place that like you're clearly dead. Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, there was one night where I was like, do I have to make this 3-hour drive to go figure out if, you know, he's dead, or do I need to call the police and have them do a wellness check? But then it was like, he's a Black man. Don't call the police. That might end terribly, right?
Yeah,
so, yeah. So those are like, I'm pretty consistent when it comes to the things that I require and need from a person that that I'm engaged with. And that hasn't changed since the last episode that we talked about this, Los. And, you know, it's consistent for me. I need that.
So what'd you end up doing? And then how did you confront the lack of communication, if there was some? Did you end up taking the drive, or did you just, you know, what was your resolution?
No. Sauce ended up talking me down.
Good job, Sauce.
I know. Usually she be the one like, let's go.
Exactly. You want me to come with you? You want me to roll with you? Because I'll roll, right? So we didn't. I definitely, you know, just had a really sleepless night. I was anxious the whole time. I tried to, you know, taking deep breaths and not thinking about it so much, but it was constantly on my mind, just kind of like, oh my gosh, like this motherfucker's dead and this is it.
Is it just dead, or are there thoughts like he could be with another woman, he could be ignoring me, maybe he doesn't want to talk to me? Like, I know as a guy, that's, you know, some of those thoughts run through my head when I used to date and be like, oh, she didn't answer my phone call tonight.
Yeah. That's actually my first go-to.
You know
in the moment, no, mostly because things have been good, right? Like, it wasn't like we had an argument earlier in the day. It was, you know, like we left things off good. So in my mind, it was like the only reason why you could possibly not be hitting me up right now is because you're dead. So, you know, so that was my logic. So I didn't, you know, go to that space because I haven't had any reason to go to that space. And also, if that is the case, like, I'm pretty sure we could have a conversation about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's new enough that I feel like we can be transparent and say what it is, right? If you want to see other people, you are seeing other people, that's your right. You know what I mean? So we're not at the place yet where that would be my go-to place, but I do go to the place of, this dude must be dead, because why else have I not heard from you in 15 hours? But when I finally did hear from him, I was now angry because it was like, so you're not dead?
You're alive?
How are you not dead, bro?
How are you not dead? Yeah. So now I'm pissed off. And then, you know, but he's all nonchalant, like,
he's mad.
How you doing? How am I doing? Are you dumb? Like, I definitely spazzed. Because he was too.
How did he react to the spazzing?
He knew it was coming, because this, you know, like, I spazzed out after not hearing from him for 2 hours before. So, I mean, don't say you're gonna call me right back and not call me right back. Like, come on.
That's why I say I don't call. I just talk to you.
I feel like that's universal Black people language. We all say, I'm gonna call you back, and we know we ain't calling you back.
Words matter. Don't do that to me.
They do. It's like, I'm around the corner. You know, I'm around the corner means I just left the house.
No, I don't agree. I mean,
there's a difference between I'll call you right back and I'll call you back.
Exactly.
So he said right.
I would rather I'll call you back. I'm good with the I'll call you back. But once you say right back, I'm thinking that's going to be within the next 5 to 10 minutes.
I got you.
If it becomes 2 hours, that feels excessive. Like, where are you dead again? Are you?
You clearly got shot in that moment.
Exactly. Exactly. So, you know, I mean, because the possibility does exist that this dude really could be dead. He's a black man in America. Come on, man.
But I don't want that to be the
My
first
anxiety is elevated.
Even if he was with someone else, why you can't just tell me that you with someone else so you're not sitting here making me wait?
Exactly.
I'm not
not even wait, just making me worry. I'm worried.
The worry I get, not that he's dead. No one drops dead in 2 hours. And if you already
drop dead in 2 hours.
How long does it take for someone to drop dead?
It's just a drop, Carlos. It's just a drop.
It varies.
The drop dead is not a prolonged time.
There's other things you could drop real slow, like
yo,
I don't think you don't drop dead slow.
2 hours. We'll find something to do in 2 hours.
Okay,
it's not like I was sitting there waiting for his.
Yeah, you were.
I was not. I was doing all kinds of things.
I
was doing all kinds of things. But what I'm saying to you is that regardless of what, if you mean what you say what you mean, and mean what you
with that.
That for me is really important. You know what I'm saying?
And you could probably get over 2 hours. You might start to have
I did get over it.
Yeah.
I did.
And then maybe if it goes into 10 hours, then you're like, but did he die?
Clearly death happened. Yeah. I get that by 10
and
hours.
That's a prolonged drop dead.
Exactly. So this time when it was 15 hours, to me, it was very rational for me to spaz. You know what I'm saying? If I was spazzing over 2 hours, I got to be consistent here, right?
Wow.
Not spaz over 15. Like, that's crazy. You got to be consistent.
I mean, people nap for 2 hours and people go to bed at night for 10 and 8. Like, so as part of that 15 hours, like 8 of that was sleep? Or it don't matter.
Which would have been fine. Which would have been fine. But the moment that you awake in the morning, your eyes open, and you recognize that I have sent you about a gazillion text messages and I have called you several times and I still have yet to hear from you, again, you need to be dead.
Oh.
So the text messages are like, hey, how are you? Hey, where are you? Hey, what are you doing? Hey, I'm gonna kill you. Hey,
no,
I'm
gonna kill you.
If you ain't
definitely
dead,
no threats. They weren't threats. They were more just kind of like, hey, I'm actually getting really concerned now. You know, I haven't heard from you. Are you okay? What's going on? Are you dead? I mean, of course, I gotta ask that. In case
it's a transcript of your emotions, basically.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to make it about me, but I asked my catfish if he was dead when I didn't hear about it from him.
Oh.
You know.
Did he respond and say, yes, I am dead?
That's what I would have done.
Yes, I am dead. You got me.
Yes, matter of fact.
You win.
I've been dropping dead for 2 hours.
For 15 hours, I've been dropping dead.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
So as of last week, we all witnessed you get stood up.
Stood up, poor baby.
Are we ready to talk about that yet?
Is it still raw?
Did anyone not expect it?
Let's call it what it was.
Let's call it.
I got catfished.
Did anyone expect it? I expected it. As soon as you gave me the call and told me what was going on, I knew exactly what it was. Like,
wow.
That it was a catfish?
I mean, yeah. Long distance.
I always thought it was a fucking catfish too, but it was like one of those, you know, like one of those jokey joke things. But I think that real life, I knew it was a catfish. So yeah, if you guys were here last week,
get it out.
If you guys were here last week, I got stood up by a gentleman, which was supposed to be my longtime lover and friend, my soulmate, my companion.
All of the above.
The one I was supposed to long for and be with forever. And what do you want, Carlos?
The finger up.
You can't be sure that was a gentleman. You can't blame a man unless you've heard his voice.
I didn't hear his voice.
They did. They spoke.
Okay.
He said it could have been a lady.
Yeah, it could have been.
Yeah. So we def spoke.
Okay.
And yeah, so he was supposed to come Friday. He said he was gonna be here. He told me he was here and that he was freshening up. And that he was
6 hours.
When it was time to meet. And apparently it's never time to meet the person that you are not. So he never called me back Saturday. Sunday while I was working, because if y'all don't know, I got me a little part-time. It's so cute. I work for Amazon Whole Foods.
Come on, give me some food. Give me some produce. Give me all of that.
Discount.
Yes.
Discounts.
So I got this text message from him, and he said, "Hey, sorry that I did that to you. I stood you up. You didn't deserve that. I really wish you the best. Blah, blah, blah. You'll never hear from me again." And I could have left it at that, but I said,
"No,
hold on."
Hot sauce, not hot
said,
sauce.
No, I said, "Oh my God, I got catfish." And I said, "I got catfish, right?" And he was just like, "I'm surprised nobody on your team thought about that." I said, "Nigga, I thought of that."
She was the first one to say it.
You were too perfect to be to not be a catfish. Like, impossible. From day one, I've been saying, nah.
This ain't real.
All for him to be like, just some little key points. He be bored. He's an average looking guy. It was his whole life that he introduced me to, except that he did not look like that person. That was that person. He could possibly be watching right now.
Look at my face. And if you are watching, look at my face right now.
Because he was watching last week to see how angry I was.
Weirdo.
And I think he was entertained and or turned on by
I'm sure he was turned on by
my struggle. And he's probably watching now. Hey. And
no shout out to you.
No shout out.
My motherfucking shout out, you creepazoid. But yeah, he ended up telling me who he really was, allegedly.
Right.
And
is it ever really real?
I said that to him. I said, no matter what you say to me right now, I can't possibly believe you.
No.
Because
the
you
trust
can just
is gone.
be catfishing me now with another catfish. And I was like, the person that you sent me is actually a nice looking guy. That's the fucked up thing about it, is that I probably would have ended up speaking to you. But good thing I didn't, because I probably would have been under somebody's bed in a in a soda cooler or some shit.
Wow. No, but you have to be some kind of psychopath to literally not only are you catfishing me, but I do a podcast.
And you tuned in.
Watched me lament throughout the whole entire
that is different.
And then what made it worse was he was like, Jill predicted that I was going to reach out to you on Saturday. So I didn't do it because I didn't want her to be right. So he reached out on Sunday instead. You're a crazy person.
Oh, he's a sociopath for sure. He's a sociopath.
Like, who behaves like this?
1000%.
He basically said that he likes to talk to 10s, and when he's himself, he only gets to talk to 5s, and that's what he likes to do, and he's just bored. And I was like, Netflix, books.
There's so many things you can do. There's Google, so many things.
YouTube.
Hold up. He said he likes to talk to 10s, but because of his looks, he only gets to talk to 5s.
Yes.
And that's the reason why he catfish. He just wants to be able to talk to a woman he thinks is a 10.
Yes.
Ain't that the dumbest thing you've ever heard?
Sociopath, period.
But
that's literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Hot Sauce, you thought he was decent looking though, right?
Yeah, I thought he was decent looking.
I mean, if you had to, let's say he's watching now. Scale of 1 to 10, what would you give him on the pictures that he presented to you the second time?
Because do we even know if that was really him?
Allegedly, the second person.
Right.
It was probably like a cool 7-ish.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
What were the pictures like? What would you rate the first pictures of the first pictures?
That was a 10.
Oh, 10.
That was a 10 out of 10.
He was a 10, 10, 10, 10, 10.
So he got a 10 profile. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
I mean, as a catfish, you have to put up the caliber that you're trying to catch, I guess.
Yeah.
So
he put up the caboodle. He said, "This nigga gets all the pussy. I gotta use his
pictures."
Yeah. I mean, the fact is, he told me that he's also friends with the guy.
Wow. That's weird.
So he assumes this guy's person. I mean, it's a little. Yeah, this is a little.
That's weird.
She puts the lotion in the bucket. You could have been Silence of the Lambs. You can go with Clarice. But, it's weird. Like, why wouldn't he just practice trying to speak to good-looking women as himself and maybe get better and be able to get to a 10? Like, you ain't.
I think that's just what he said. I think
I'm still thinking that he's a 13-year-old girl. Well, but because I spoke to him, I know that. I mean, because I spoke to him, I know that he sounds like a black man. So I have to give him that. much. He didn't have a bad voice. He didn't have a bad personality. He was a little, even in my love phase, he was a little bit off sometimes, like to make me think that, oh, you might got a personality disorder or some shit like that. But I'll take that because you fine. So
it's all right.
Okay. So let's get down to brass tacks, because we judging, and of course, hot sauce, we go way back.
Yeah.
I ain't judging you, but let me know so were you so enamored by the picture that you was ready to give him some after he completed this long distance drive, that you was like, forget the quirks I heard on the phone, forget the fact that there's a show called Catfish. He's so fine, I'm gonna go out on a date with him just because he's fine.
Yeah. That's usually how it works.
I didn't. I mean, the only part is because I'm oblivious to the FaceTime. I hate the FaceTime.
I can't believe you didn't FaceTime at least once to confirm that the word.
I have to.
When the voice came out.
With all due, twice we tried to set up a Zoom meeting, a Zoom date, and he casually
had technical difficulties
each night.
Yes.
Oh, sis, you did the standard Catfish story?
So you've seen it. So you
I didn't know. I never watched Catfish, so it wasn't until Saturday that I spent my day doing research, and I watched a whole day of Catfish, and I said, nigga,
it was textbook.
Textbook was Catfish.
Yeah,
like legitimately was Catfish. Like for real. Like there's no possible way that I could.
Somebody call Neve. We need to track him down. Somebody call Neve, and we're gonna track him down. Let's do it.
Call Neve.
Let's call Neve.
No, why are we tracking him down?
It's fun. It's entertainment.
Let's turn the third. I don't know what that picture looked like, and I don't really care. But let's turn that thirst down a little bit. You had to be pretty open. Did he send you a nude? Like what? Like what's going on, Sauce?
Ooh.
He was just fine. I'm that vain.
Yo, it be like that sometimes, bro. Like it be
he
like
was fine, and he was 6'6" allegedly.
You win. He like he won.
He
won.
Yeah.
To all the fellas listening, that's all you're gonna do. Tell them you're 6'6".
You'll at least get to the conversation.
But you know what? The conversation actually has to follow, because if he had followed, if he was crazy on the outside, like if he had shown real qualities of being crazy, it would have been easier to kind of be like, oh, nigga, you ain't right. You cute and all, but you have a lot of crazy views. He was really like supportive. He was, yeah. He was always on it. Like he was always like,
And I hate to sound cliche, but how many good-looking 6'6" men are that attentive? Let's just call it what it is.
Hello, Mo. Say it again.
Let's be real.
Okay, y'all be trying to act like I'm crazy. I'm not kidding you. Dudes that look like that.
Angle.
Huh?
Let me give you another angle. If I'm 6'6" and fine, if that's the standard, I'm walking around in this earth, and most women be like, "Oh, he's 6'6" and fine." Why the fuck am I on social media dating?
That was the $1 million question.
Jill,
I got to be online.
That was the $1 million question.
And I definitely ain't got to drive 3 hours or 2 hours or an hour to meet nobody. You coming to me.
Exactly.
This has been your position from the beginning.
Yes, I want the record to reflect that is because everything you said is what I've been saying. If you are 6'6" and you identify as fine, there is absolutely not one single reason for you to be on a dating app looking for women. It is not going to happen.
So then why did you talk to him?
Ooh. Boom. She had to put herself on mute real quick.
Because somewhere in me, I was hoping that he
please be 6'6". Please be 6'6".
That he
please
happened to be real, and I just like he was experimenting because like. He was like, yo, let's just go on and see what's out there then. Since you hate all these bitches, whatever, just go on. And then he went on, and then he found me, and we became in love. And it's been our story that we tell at the fire when our grandchildren are there for Christmas. And I met your granddaddy on.
I hate the whole play out.
You know,
Oh my God.
That's legit what has to happen. That's what
it literally feels like you walked into the catfish. You were basically like, ooh, catfish me, because from based on your own theory of who should be online, you're basically like, he shouldn't be on there, but you're like, he is on there, and I'm going to go for him.
I found him.
I know that there is no way he's real.
I don't know if it was you or Son that told me that I purposely need this to not work out so that I can go on with my narrative of men ain't shit. And
I think that was Joe. It was Joe, 1,000%.
I am starting to believe that. I am starting to believe that I manifest ain't shit.
Yeah, it was a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
I am fully accepting accountability for being catfish. I want everybody to understand that.
Yeah, it's not his fault.
You're no victim. You're no victim.
Exactly. He was definitely crazy, and I will give him his kudos for being a psychopath. But I too am taking responsibility for not doing my due diligence and making sure that I don't be out here self-sabotaging myself. So I'm taking the motherfucking accountability.
Hey,
and it does
that's
not
the first
feel
step.
nice.
That's the first step, though, Sauce. That's when we know you're growing up, Saucy. You are growing up, sis.
I still got catfish, though, so I don't feel grown.
Oh. Grown-ups get catfish, too. Grown-ups get catfish, too.
No, they don't.
There's mad adults on the show. There was like a 40-something-year-old woman whose son was trying to help her because she was getting catfish.
If I was single and I was online dating and a woman shows up that looks like Paula Patton,
I'm not trusting that.
I'm not going to get killed that day. Especially if you say, you know what, I'm gonna come over your house. I'm coming to you right now. I'm gonna come to you.
Yeah, no, that's just not believable. I get you.
It's not believable.
It's not believable. So, guys, I didn't do any online dating, but I did some out of town dating.
Oh, that's much more fun.
No, it wasn't.
Wait, didn't you change your zip code online?
Yeah, so I did.
Because you were going to NOLA, right?
Yeah, so last week I was in the NOLA. If you guys tuned in, I was a little late because there's a time difference in NOLA and I didn't know. But so yeah, I had set my dating app to NOLA maybe about 2 weeks ahead of time, right?
Right.
Smart. You smart.
Might have caught maybe about 2 or 3 decent individuals.
Okay.
By the time it was time for me to go, they had all fallen off, like literally, like just dead for different reasons, like absolutely dead for different reasons. So I was like, you know what? Take on this trip in the old-fashioned way and just see who I run into while I'm down there. Let's just see. Okay. And it was a 6'6" chocolate magically delicious NOLA man just standing on Bourbon Street waiting on me. He was just waiting.
Okay.
But you know, it wasn't a catfish, but I guess we can call it a kiss fish. I guess it was a kiss fish. So I risked COVID, guys. I risked fucking COVID to kiss this man because he was cool. We met maybe about my second day there. We hung out a couple of times. I risked COVID to kiss this man, and
is 6'6" the magic number?
I don't know. Something about that 6'6". I don't know.
Hey, baby, y'all better not ever catch you talking about sitting with 6'6".
So no, and it's good for me because as somebody who's 5'8", I never get approached by the tall guys. The tall guys hate me as a tall girl. So for this towering ass man, chocolatey delicious, to see me, and it was like an instant attraction. I was like, well, I'm on vacation. YOLO, COVID, but be careful, right? You know.
And now we understand the that cough that you got right now.
No, that has nothing to do with it. This happens every time I travel. Don't do me like that. No, what ended up happening was, oh God, it was a kiss fish. Like he looked like he would know what he was doing and just he would be magical. But by the time the kiss got done, I was literally traumatized. Like I ran home, washed my face 3 times because this entire portion of my face smelled like fucking spit. Do you understand me? I wanted to die. I don't.
Sauce, you're eating your mango and you're
muted. There's just too much going on against you.
Was he licking your face?
I maybe because I was facing up because he's 6'6". I don't know.
Was he drooling on you?
Maybe he was trying to create extraness. It was just bad. Like it was bad. It was wet. It was juicy. It was just. And
how long is this? I mean, is this like a 5-second kiss?
So mind you, he's also 6'6". So like I'm trying to pull away. Like I don't like it. And I can't.
I don't want to.
I really can't because he's like grabbing me extra tight. And I'm just like, I just want.
Oh, he was trying to give you like one of those.
Oh, he was giving me them passionate joints, yeah, and ate my face.
Ate
my entire face.
I get it.
And literally, my friend is chiming in on the comments right now because I literally ran into the hotel room screaming, like, "Oh God, I gotta wash my face!"
Did your face
smell the spit drying? Your face is all tightened up.
Oh, it was just bad. But do you know? God bless him. I pray he's not tuned in because he's a cool dude. But do you know this man hit me up? You know this man hit me up the next day talking about, "Oh, that kiss was everything. It was so passionate," and I'm like.
That's one perspective.
Yeah, it was wet. It was wet. That's what it was.
Wow.
But I really risked COVID for this, like, and I'm so traumatized about it.
Non-sexually.
Huh? There's no way to eat that non-sexually, sis. I'm sorry. There's just no.
What do you? Did she turn around?
I just noticed that she killed that whole mango in like 30 seconds.
Maybe she's sending subliminals. Maybe.
I mean, maybe
I don't even know who he is. Catfish ass.
The catfish dude still watching. You want him to call you again? That's what you want.
He about to give you a call.
You got some on your face. Yeah, there you go. You got some right there. Yeah, get that right there.
Wow, clean it up, sauce. Clean it up. So yeah, that was my dating moment. I guess we can call it that. It was more traumatizing than
that sounds disgusting, Mo. And I'm really sorry that you had to go through that.
I think I would have rather have been catfish than kiss.
Yeah, I 1000% would have chose catfish than kiss fish.
What if catfish was real?
COVID too.
Risk COVID. And he came down here doing the same thing. What I'm supposed to do? I would let him.
You would let him give you bad kisses?
No, we know you was gonna let him. We know you was gonna let him.
Wow. Because he was 6'6" and fine. That's all it takes.
Honey.
6'6", is that all it takes? God, brother.
I mean, I'm not gonna front.
Around here soon.
I'm not gonna front. There's a certain level past go you get to when you're 6'6" and fine. There's just a certain level. But it doesn't get you all the way in the door. At least for me.
You have to match it with some type of.
It opens. Seems like it opens every door.
It does. It at least cracks it open.
It's a master key. It opens every door.
It cracks it open and see if there's potential.
Yeah, you can peek in.
It might bust it open to see if it's potential, but it's not gonna be like automatic. You gotta have some type of.
Well, what do you do when the 6'6" has a third leg that matches the 6'6"?
Oh, so that's what was happening with Homeboy too. And
is that what y'all chasing? Is that why y'all chasing the 6'6"?
No, God.
I didn't know that this was a thing. I didn't know this was a thing.
To be honest,
I don't.
Size doesn't matter, and nobody wants no overgrown, big ass, stupid ass. Dick.
I ran away. When I saw it. Like literally, I gotta go. I run.
I don't know what's going on now.
I don't like that. That's too much.
Just when you think you understand women, you have no idea.
Too much.
Enough about us.
Yes, it's about you.
What's your status, Mister?
I ain't doing none of that stuff, y'all.
You ain't doing none of it.
It must be nice to not have to do this bullshit.
Exactly.
I'm gonna tell the truth to the fellas out there listening. It is nice because after a lifetime of hunting and chasing and
doing bullshit,
never being 6'6", you know what I'm saying? Try to open the doors when you're 5'10". You got to use your gift of gab to be out there, brother, and still, you know what I'm saying, do what you do. But yeah, was it last weekend? Last weekend, I asked my best friend if she would marry me, and she said yes. So I am engaged.
Congratulations!
I've elevated from girlfriend to fiance, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's probably the happiest I've been. Well, it's not probably. It definitely is the happiest I've been in a relationship any time in my entire life.
I just don't want to be sitting up here blushing the whole time, like.
I'm so happy but sad at the same time.
I'm trying to keep it cool myself. I'm trying to keep it cool. Like I'll be ready to,
Did
I have wings, I'll be flying around.
Do men cry when did this happen?
This happened last Saturday. Yeah, Saturday, June 27th. Let me act like I'm gonna forget the date. I got it memorized. Yes.
I know that's right.
So you are about a week fianced.
Yeah, I've been fianced for a week.
You've been fianced.
Interesting. It's very interesting.
What's you guys' story?
I mean, it's
story.
Yeah, it's a cool story. I mean, I met her 20 years ago. I had to get her number. I had to bag her twice. I met her at a fashion show. I think, Muffin, those that are from Boston know Muffin, the hairdresser. She was doing a fashion show like 20 years ago, somewhere in Providence. I hopped out of the truck with my fellas I was hanging with, shout out to Rusty and them from Funky Fresh. And we're doing promotions, and I see this beautiful young lady hop out the van. She was gonna be a model that night. I got her number before she went into the club because I was like, let me get her number now because there might be some 6'6" motherfucker in there. So, you want to work fast when you're 5'10". So I get her number. I talked to her a little bit, but she ends up, probably forgetting about me, or maybe she met the 6'6" motherfucker in there. Who knows? But then I met her a couple of months later again. I recognized her at a house party we were both at. She was leaving and I was coming in, and I was like, hey, now I still want to get up with you. I think I walked her to the bus stop or to the cab stand or something like that night. We started dating. I think that was like 1999. I ended up taking her to her senior prom. We traveled a little bit, went to Montreal Jazz Festival. And then we just kind of been friends over the last 20 years, kind of, social media, catch up every now and then. But the last 2 years ago, I was being intentional 2 years ago. I was tired of dating. I was tired of just being single.
What is being intentional? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, like I told my man, like, yo, when she's back, she's in Boston. I always had a good vibe with her. I'm gonna holler at her when I come back from this trip. I'm gonna see what's really good. And I did, and here we are. Like, we started dating.
Yes.
Quickly, became exclusive, and I've kind of been all in since then. And it's only been getting better. It's pretty fucking exciting.
Shout out to Black Love. I love it.
Oh
Shout
my God, right?
Oh.
How did you propose? I love proposal stories. How did you do it?
So, because she knew it was coming, I mean, we've kind of been, in my mind, we've already been engaged. Like, once we started dating, we were dating with the intention to be married. We were dating to be serious. So I knew she knew it was coming. I'm not trying to guess. I was asking her, what type of rings you want and all that stuff. So once I had the information, I knew that I needed to make the who and the how kind of the important part, right? So, or the when and the how. So I surprised her. I told her a friend of mine had won like a free photo shoot, and that he wanted a couple of friends to come down to the Boston Public Gardens to this photo shoot. And she was like, that's such a corny idea, which is why I love her, because she speaks her mind. And I was like, I know it is kind of corny, but just, humorous. They're trying to, do something nice, so let's go. So we show up. I drop her off. I have my friends are all in on it. My sister's in on it. And they're taking her one way on the public garden. And I have her family hidden, her nuclear family hidden on another part of the garden. So I park the car, grab them, and my friends walk her back around to where I'm going to be. She comes down the stairs by the footbridge, and I pop out. If you see the pictures, pictures are on IG. And so I pull her from the crowd and tell her something sweet in her ear, and I send her family up so they can watch from over the bridge. And I put this pillow that says joy that we keep in our apartment. And I put it on the ground, and I take a knee, and I ask her, to be my wife. Well, if she marry me, she says yes. And then her family screams from up above, and she looks up and is happy to see her family above us. I had a photographer there to make sure we captured the moment.
Yes.
It was really exciting. It was a lot to plan.
It sounds magical.
She told it better than me, but it was cool.
That is beautiful.
We're so happy for you.
Shout out to Black Love, and when it actually is working and healthy, and it's dope. I appreciate even seeing you light up when you talk about it. It's so beautiful to see.
Right.
It's so beautiful.
I can't even hold it.
Oh Lord, send me mine, Jesus. Send me mine.
I snuck up in the house, and I heard her telling the story to someone else, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, you must have done it well," because she's telling the story to one of her homegirls.
Did she relate it right? How did she relate it nicely the way that you kind of did?
Absolutely, even better. Much better.
What he was doing, and then he said, and then we went up this way. And
she tried to play it cool. Like, I knew something was going on. Like, you ain't know nothing was going on. But it was.
That is so cute. So when did you know that you wanted to marry her?
Probably about a year ago. Probably about a year into our relationship. I was taking all the things that I had learned in past relationships and applying them to this one, making sure that I was putting my all into this relationship, making sure that, I wasn't making the same mistakes I made in the past. And our energy, our compatibility, which I never really paid too much attention to. Like, some people look good for you on paper, but on a day-to-day in the same space, it ain't going to work. But this woman is, we can sit silently. We can go on a road trip and one DJs and the other one is driving. We're compatible in almost every setting. And then when we're not compatible, we are mature enough to give each other space. So that's when I was like, I can spend, besides loving her and everything about her as a being, I can also spend my rest of my life within the same space as this woman. And that's when I
knew. Okay.
It's beautiful.
You know,
You're dealing with 3 single women right now, like.
Listen, I put hot sauce onto the game. I told hot sauce, I think the major thing was it was not just me. It's the kind of the expectations she set in the beginning from almost, I think, our first or second date that really kept me on my P's and Q's. Like it was a good counterbalance, like asking me if I'm emotionally available, if I'm single, if I'm willing to move, if I'm willing to, do all these different things.
What's the third question? Every time we come on here, we try to quote you.
Was it emotionally available?
Are you single?
I think it was
are you
about
open
baggage.
to a relationship?
Yes. Are you looking? Yeah. Are you looking for a relationship? Because that's the intentional part. You want to be looking for a relationship, right?
Even though you're single, you're not necessarily looking for a
relationship. brothers will hit you with the, well, right now I just want to see where things are going, and if we get to know each other,
I just want to go with the flow. Huh?
Yeah, you heard the lines before, right? Next thing you know, you got drool on your face from your cheeks down.
Wow. Wow.
Don't do her that. You don't do her like that.
Wow. Well, this man was very intentional. He definitely told me he wanted me underneath his arm in a headlock for the rest of his life because he's 6'6". So, and I'm like, no, that's uncomfortable. That sounds like an uncomfortable life.
And that's like, that's not like your first 3 a line you want to use in your first 3 dates. Like, I'm ready for the rest of my life on my first 3 dates.
I know he crazy. That means that this what that means, but not in our first. I want to put you on a honey.
Like, I just wanted, and he was like literally dragging me around the streets because he thought he was like holding me, but it was more of a headlock. And I'm like, okay, I'm uncomfortable. My neck is hurting. And he's like, I just walk everywhere with you like this, girl. I just bring you around everywhere forever. And I'm like, all right, you're special. Okay, sir. Different. You are different. I thought it was just a NOLA thing, but no, he was just special.
Was he a local or?
Oh, 9th Ward, born and raised. He kept saying it. Okay. Jesus. 9th Ward.
I like how you did that.
You see how I did that? I knew the accent.
Right into the accent, right? Like you were down there wobbling, doing the wobble.
I was on bourbon. But no, shout out to New Orleans. It was lit during pandemic though, because it wasn't as many people.
Lit during pandemic.
No, it was lit because Bourbon Street was still open, but it wasn't like overcrowded with people. So it was actually enjoyable. It was really enjoyable.
So this is the perfect time to go.
Yes. Go to New Orleans before they shut down again.
You know it's about to shut down again. It's coming.
It's going to come because people are acting crazy. Just today, there was a shooting in the brain over some damn shoes at Expressions.
Are you kidding me?
They got into an argument over some shoes, and one of the motherfuckers started busting shots. Like, it was like
Imagine having to bring a gun to the mall. Imagine you going to the mall and you're like, yo, keys, phone, charger. Where my gun at, yo? I can't go to Expressions without my gun.
Baby, where you going? Oh, I'm just going to get some niggas.
Going to South Shore Plaza.
You're a whole fucking clown. That's what you are. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
You're walking around in fear.
I'm there to buy Bath and Body Works and I got my gun on me.
I mean, I carry a knife, pretty often.
Of course. I feel like as a black man, you do have to have some sort of way to protect yourself at all times. But a gun to South Shore Plaza, fam, like really, is like that
and
hard.
using it over sneakers.
Is it really that hard?
Over sneakers,
we don't even got nowhere to go. We're wearing sneakers, so why don't you just chill out?
Why is everybody buying all the sneakers? Why?
Where y'all going?
Can't nobody go nowhere.
I think Americans are addicted. I think we're addicted to shopping and having things that makes us feel better.
I agree.
So like that's why I think why the fireworks are popping off so big, and now that the malls are open, people are just going to buy things because it makes them feel good. Yeah, it just makes them feel good.
Yeah.
It's weird, but I think that's what it is.
Even during quarantine, we was all going crazy on Amazon buying stuff for no damn reason. You're right about that. Now, I did see that one of the questions we wanted to touch on was, do you feel loved and protected? Yeah, let's get back to it. Back to these notes. Do you feel loved and protected by the Black woman specifically in today's society?
Absolutely. I mean, we're speaking generally.
Yeah, generally.
Obviously, it's speaking about the that I interact with, but absolutely. I would say my entire life I have been under the cover, the warmth, the care, the love of Black women, whether it's my mother, whether it's my sister, whether it's women in the community that have helped me, whether they've mentored me, supported me, whether it's women in my peer group, like you all who have been friends. Absolutely, I get that feeling. And even any negative interactions I have don't even come close to the amount of positive. You know, Jay-Z has a line in his last album, like, Black women, you rescued us. Like, really, Black women have kept us on the straight and narrow, kept us strong, really been the backbone for us for many generations now. Yeah, yes.
When you hear questions like that,
Mm-hmm.
how do you interpret them? Even though you know it's talking about in general, but do you base your answer off of your experiences or what you think?
Yes, I base it off of what I feel.
Your experience. Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you think that comes?
Because otherwise I feel like I'm projecting if I don't do that. Like, if I'm trying to think about, like I said, I could pull out a negative, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that because I feel love that every Black woman that I've ever interacted with has been a positive interaction.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna pick out the what's more rare. I'd rather focus on what the norm is. And the norm energy I get from Black women is
in
love.
general.
Whether platonic, whether romantic, whether, you know, parental, whatever it is, it's always been, it's been a pretty constant thing.
The counter, go ahead.
No, I guess I was taking over. Yeah, the counter. I started off with that question. Go ahead.
Yeah, the counter to that is when we ask that question, a resounding, what was it? Do you feel loved by, like, Black men? Where you like no? Oh, I think it was actually kind of half and half.
Half and half. Yeah, there were a lot
about half and half. When we asked Black women if they felt protected by the Black men, we got an overwhelming no.
Yeah,
why do you think that is?
I think it's a few different reasons, right? And I've watched a couple of those conversations. I think men on a whole are different. We're different. Our genetics are different, or we're hardwired different, and society nurtures us differently, and programs us differently. And then Black men have another level to it. So I just think as Black men, we don't have, well, I'll speak for myself. I never had a good, healthy rites of passage about interacting with Black women. You know what I mean? I had a father who passed and an older brother, but neither one of them sat me down at 14, 15, 18, 21 and said, hey, this is a Black woman. This is from whence you came. This is, you know, my father set an example, but I'm trying to improve on that example. It wasn't a perfect example. And, you know, and my brother he's only 6 years my senior. So it's, you know, you can't really learn too much from a peer or someone slightly older learning it themselves. Like, we are not, I think when our family structure has been broken, we have been pit against each other in some terrible ways. I think men are, especially Black men, are so wrapped up sometimes with our own trauma and our own challenges that we don't understand how it manifests and how we might take it out on our sisters, on our mothers, on our lovers, on our friends that are Black women. And I think between, you know, women having to deal with, you know, gender issues with the patriarchy, as well as being Black, I just don't think we've garnered all of our empathy to pay attention to what Black women go through. And I think that leaves us with a mighty big gap where we can improve. And I'm not saying that you know, obviously there's a lot of Black love out there, but we can improve.
Yeah, 1,000%.
We can improve. You know, I think I'm learning still how to, you know, when I hear like protect Black women, you know, my default is as a Black man, like, oh, of course I protect Black women. But then if I really I could think of times when I was younger and at a club and I've seen a fight between a guy and a woman, and they were so far away and so strange to me that I was like, I ain't getting involved in that. I'm not even going to say that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going the other way.
Yeah.
Now it's a little, you know, if you get older, you see it a little differently. Like, you see, you know, hopefully as we mature, we see women differently, not just as our mother and sisters, but as our equals, and that we should step in and make sure that they're protected. But
do you think that there are conditions though? Like, one of the other themes that I've noticed, especially in our Facebook group, is sometimes depending on what the circumstances are, right? So like, I'll stand up for the Black woman if she's not in the wrong, if she didn't do something, you know, to provoke this Black man from attacking her or whatever the case is. Like, so would you say that protecting us comes with a certain set of conditions? Like,
I think for some people it does. I think naturally, just some people want to mind their business. Even like household things are, people keep it in their house, and we all heard the adages of people getting involved in another relationship and then they both turn on you.
Yeah.
So you don't know how the situations are gonna play.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I think everybody has conditions. I think we should remove some of the conditions we have, like to think that a woman in general or a Black woman has to be virtuous to our degree of judgment. She shouldn't, if she didn't want that negative attention from those men, her skirt should have been longer. Like that shit is whack. You know what I mean? Like a woman should be able free to wear whatever she wants, just like a man should be able to free to, and without having to deal with the extra. So unfortunately, we still have those conditions, and that's why I think we can improve, because I think we have this expectation, and men don't talk about it. Like a lot of men have bad relationships with their mothers and their
talk about
grandmothers.
it.
Some men have been, and I'm not making excuses, but some of them have been abused by women. Some of them have never dealt with their hurt from high school and college age, and they become toxic, and they're putting that shit on other women, or they're not. They feel, So I think we all have to deal with it as individuals, and I hope the more of us that start to set a good example. I'm a much better mentor and big brother and cousin around my way at 44 than I was at 28. At 28, I'm telling the young cats wild shit.
What age do you think you matured?
Me? Yeah. 32, my mind just started to see that I was not where I thought I was. That was just like an awareness. And then it probably took me to 39, 40 to be like, oh, you was way off.
So I got to change my dating age to 40 plus. That's what I got to do.
That's where I'm at. I'm at the 42 plus.
Okay.
But let me say this. I also hang with some young brothers. Shout out to Milk, who makes fantastic music in Boston. Some brothers that are 25, 26, and I've known them since they were 18, who I find almost as emotionally mature around certain things like dating as me.
Yeah.
And if they challenged me like 5-10 years ago, like, Los, you need to slow it down. Los, so when a 26-year-old is saying that to you and you're 14 years a senior, and he's modeling it for you and telling you about the benefits of it, like there's some mature young cats out there too.
I can't find them, Los.
They probably
where they at though?
Where they at though?
They're not 6'6". They ain't 6'6".
Stop it. Well, no, don't get me started. Because I've always been the person that I always talk trash, and I just had to come to the realization that I might be a low-key heightist now these days. But beforehand, I was never the one to discriminate. Short, tall, or whatever, I would give you a chance. And it didn't make a damn difference whether you were 6'6" or 5'6" or 5'7" or 5'8". Still shit, quite frankly. That's not.
I think the trick is how fast you can weed them out.
Yeah, that's what
it's about catching the right ones. It's how fast you can weed them out without catching any collateral damage. Like you know what I'm saying?
That is so important.
Yes,
you just want to get them in and out.
What I've learned from the last couple of weeks of being schooled is that I need to, if I'm going to be dating intentional, I need to date intentionally. Like not just making sure that he's ready to date intentionally, but making sure that I am too. And that comes with not being afraid to say what the fuck I want, because I'm afraid that you might go somewhere. If you go somewhere, clearly you are not about to give me what I want.
You want them to go somewhere. You want them to go somewhere quickly.
Exactly. So if you want to be here and I tell you what my wants or my needs are, and you're like, hey, I think I can handle that, I am going to do that. Versus, I might not be really that into that, but we'll see. That's not what I'm looking for. That's I don't want you to will see. I'm still seeing at this point. I'm ready to be seen.
I already figured it out.
Yeah. No, I like to lead with my crazy, because at the end of the day, it really helps. Like, I'm pretty sure, all of the wrath that this man has received from me is, to some, it might seem premature, but the reality is that, like, I want you to understand how I deal with conflict. I want you to know that there are certain things that are not acceptable for me just based on the person that I am, right? So if you know that I have a lot of anxiety around, communication, et cetera, like, if you are interested in being with me, your goal should be to ease my anxiety. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that there's not work that I can do to make sure that I am, I'm not going to 100, and I can stay between, like 10 and 50.
90.
We gave you 90. You're like, I like 10 and 50.
Yeah, I know that there is some work that I can do, but also letting the person know that, like, this is something that comes with this package, I am a little bit intense when it comes to these kinds of situations. And so if the response is like, I'm not going to give you that, then you don't need to be here, because this isn't going to change that much.
Right.
That's a smart idea. I am 1000% guilty of kind of withholding my crazy until I feel comfortable enough to let it out. And it does end up wasting a lot of time. It ends up wasting.
And it sets you, and you start setting expectations that aren't going to get met. Like, think about how guys do it. Guys are screening you out immediately. Like, first they're looking at you, are you attractive? And then, I try to tell all my single women friends this, like, they'll put you in a category, in a box quick. And I know y'all do it too, but a man will be like, if she ain't going to give it to me, if she ain't give me sex tonight, I ain't talking to her. She might get 2 weeks. She might get a month. She got 3 dates. I'm going to spend $300 on her because she looks like she got, you know what I'm saying? Guys are doing this in their mind all the time. You should be doing the same thing. If they don't hit your qualifiers, cut them and move on, because they're going to do the same to you.
Come on, you better preach.
I be thinking that there's mad memes about there, like, black women need to stop thinking that in order to be strong, they have to go through the struggle or something like that.
But do you think
those things?
Did you hear? It was a post where someone had put up, like, why do you, black men, tell black women why you love them. And literally 90% of the post is because, they're so strong. They go through so much and they're still able to be so strong. Like, why does our suffering have to make us beautiful? Like,
because we have a bad relationship in terms of what we define as love. And whether that's from in the household, like, somewhere we've equated struggle with love, with resiliency with love, and they're two totally different things. One of the things
I would win through the fire with it. For what?
Right. Now, the fire's coming. The fire's always coming, right? Like, for those that are faithful, you're either entering in a storm, or coming out of a storm. But do you want to start in a storm?
No,
you know what I'm saying? Like, let's say your goal is to be with somebody for 30, 40 years. You don't want the first 2 years. And I didn't learn this until this relationship. Like, I was the same thing. Like, oh, the person that loves you the best is going to hurt you the most. Like, maybe, but let's not start like that.
I don't feel like
I don't want that to be the expectation.
Right. So even, I mean, we're 2.5 years in our relationship, and we've never, like, had a knockdown, drag out argument. Like, things are resolved the next day, because it should not have to be a tug of war to prove. I shouldn't have to overcome all the rest of your trauma.
It should not have to be this hard. Like, I understand that combining personalities and people, you will get some pushback, you will get some challenges, but I don't feel like being in a relationship has to be hard, where it's like suffering, like, you shouldn't have to go through that or dealing with something. I mean, that's something that, the Lord is still working on me on. Okay. Hello. And I'm going through therapy.
And some of it's manipulative. Some of it is men manipulating, and women, both, but mostly both men sides. Thinking that,
how much can I get away with
to prove yourself. Right. And if you, and they'll use it like, you ain't really down. The whole used to be my ride or die. Like,
ooh, that ride or die.
Okay, but what does that mean?
Like,
if you're my ride or die, doesn't that mean I do as much as I can do to keep you from dying? Like, I'm it doesn't mean I put you in a bad situation over and over.
It doesn't mean you keep trying to kill me and I stay alive. Like, no, that's not what that means.
Right. You like to spend more of your time riding than dying. You know what I'm saying?
Like, and we want to do a very quick death, not a slow one, like how you guys like to do.
That 15 minutes.
I love y'all drop dead slowly.
But I think until we have more conversations with ourselves at younger ages about relationships and romance, that it'll still be the same. Like, we still don't talk to 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds about romance and dating, and we still let TV and magazines and movie and music do it. So as long as, what I'm saying, Tekashi 6ix9ine and whoever is teaching you about romance, then, or your friends,
Yeah,
who
that's
don't
the
know
worst.
shit
The
either.
worst.
You know what I'm saying?
What's your?
I learned about it. I was 15. I'm a 16-year-olds are schooling me about sex and romance.
Yeah,
That's
same here.
it didn't go well.
What's you guys' definition, or you all's definition of of romance? You brought that word up, but like, like, what is your definition of romance?
I already got my answer.
How
I'm
do
ready.
you and Bae stay romantic?
I mean, I don't even know if we have the same definition. My definition of romance is really just paying attention to her feelings. And that's not always flowers and kisses. Like sometimes that's, it's apologizing before she even gets to get upset with me, before she verbalizes her complaint. That way she knows her feelings are a top priority for me. Like those things to me are romantic, like putting her feelings in the forefront.
Do you
and
have
then
a
doing
best
all the
friend
flowers and things too.
that thinks like you? Do you have a best friend that thinks like you?
Yeah. They were all in the pictures with me when I proposed, and they proposed years ago.
Boo! No, I've had enough of the married
I
situation.
zoomed in on the pictures, like I was in everybody's hands.
Looking for rings, looking for rings.
I was looking for rings because I was like, yo, I'm gonna try to get the alley.
I am the last one in the crew. I'm the baby of the crew at 44. And I'm the last one in the crew to get engaged and hopefully married. So, yeah, they're pretty much off the market. Now I have a younger crew who's not quite ready to be serious yet, and then there was that super young crew who's mature, but y'all ain't ready.
They babies.
Or cougar stage yet, right?
My name ain't Jada. My name ain't Jada.
Exactly. I wasn't gonna go there.
I might just be at the cougar stage. You know,
you ready, sis?
Get me a little 23.
No, she's not. She's talking good shit. She is not patient enough to be a cougar, period.
Make his little ass, Get over here. Go get me some McDonald's.
You'll literally be raising another child, and I know that's not what you want. That's not what you want in life.
I can't do it. Unless him and the boy go play video games all day.
Keep the boy comfy now.
Then we might have a chance of making it. He's the best stepdaddy.
Then you gotta ask when you date. You gotta be like, "Yo, do you have a PlayStation 4 or Xbox
Can my son play your PlayStation?"
What's your patience level for teaching an 8-year-old?
Right.
Yes, intentional questions. I'm here for it.
And if he says something like, "Yo, I think video games are great for 8-year-olds to get to learn hand-eye coordination," then you're like, "Word, this might be the one." And you keep moving with him.
You go on another date with that guy.
That's so real. I mean, I think my definition of romance comes down to more so, the person speaking my love language.
Good point.
Like, I'm very much into, like, my primary love language is acts of service. And so if you're doing those kinds of things, then for sure I feel like you are literally romancing the heck out of me. Like, my garbage disposal broke and this man came over here and fixed my garbage disposal. Like,
and you were sitting there like, oh, I love him so much. He's the best. I get it.
Swoon.
I get it.
Like, it doesn't take much.
Garbage disposal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, romance it's intimacy on that same note as Jill's saying. Like, and intimacy depends on what your language is, whether it's touch, whether it's acts of service or things like that. Just getting to know me. I think for me, the most romantic things or experiences I've had are having conversations where people are trying to get to know me and what makes me tick, and vice versa, where we're really digging into each other's psyche. That's romantic to me. It's weird, but that's romance.
I don't even think that's weird. I think you know what I mean? I think we so far away from getting what we normally want. Yeah. We think it's weird, but I think like love language is huge. And so I think that when I started dating my fiance, I don't even necessarily know that she spoke my love language, but I knew what it was. And I told her, and we both can be a little slick mouth. It's just our nature. But I started to watch her like go out of her way to speak my love language, like my words of affirmation. Now, what's a fine line when your love language is words of affirmation? They can cut you down as quickly as they can build you up. And so to see her take the care to not cut me down when she got a slick mouth, but go out of her way to build me up, like on a bad day and know I'm having a bad day, I'll see the light bulb go off like, he just needs to hear some affirmation. And she'll walk away and come back with it and be like, hey, I just wanted to tell you this. And I'm like,
She loves me.
Yeah, she went out of her way to speak my language. Like that shit to me is like, that's huge. But I didn't know my love language 10 years ago.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like I learned that.
We never even had those conversations 10 years ago.
I think that's I think that speaks to like where we are as adults though too, you know, like not for all that foo-foo-ness. I mean that foo-foo-ness is really cool too, like flowers and rose petals, candles and lights and you know, that's cool too. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like that speaks to like Valentine's Day. People are like, I love on my woman every day. I don't need Valentine's Day. I hope that those are the kind of romantic things that they are doing, like paying attention to what exactly she does want so that she does always feel loved. And now Valentine's Day, she's not sitting here waiting, you know, dressed up with nowhere to go and disappointed when you don't do it because it's the only time you had one job. Yeah. It's to be romantic and you can't even be romantic on Valentine's Day. You know, like, so it's the same thing for me too. Like I really like just really simple shit like cuddling. Like I'm not joking when I say I want to lay down and cuddle all day. I did that once with a dude where we just laid in the bed, watched movies naked all day, smoked weed, and that was it. There was nothing romantic about it, but it was one of the most amazing days that I had. You know, like it was just very basic.
Is he still on the roster?
Huh?
Is he still on the roster or did he get cut? Because I haven't got an update in a while.
He actually is still around, but he is not on the roster. He's
not an active member on the
He hasn't been in circulation in the last 2 weeks. Me and the fellows you had to be in at least active in the last 2 weeks for you to stay in the roster. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And he's been gone for quite some time. I think he is with Woman now. But he did call me the other week when she wasn't available to see if I would be perhaps available. I said, well, unfortunately I am not available, but I don't think that you're girl.
Did I get that right? He's with Woman, but he was checking to see if you still was gonna make some time.
I think that she wasn't available, so he was checking. Perhaps I was, you know.
When you say with Woman, does that mean he's in a relationship or he's just seeing someone else?
He is seeing a relationship.
So
he's seeing a relationship. I quit.
He's having one. I don't know what the fuck it's called these days.
He's on the outside looking at his relationship, clearly.
Relationship.
There's someone at home that cares about me. I don't know if I'm in a relationship.
Exactly. One of those.
If I was allowing him to, you know, take up some space in my bed, you know, perhaps.
Right.
I respectfully declined that.
Oh, you're good, sis. You're good. I'm still learning how to say no. Jesus.
Yeah, I would have probably went. No. I thought about it, but I was like,
it was a thought, not gonna front.
But I didn't because I'm trying to be better.
We're trying to be different these days. We're trying to be different. Yeah, we're trying.
Switch it up.
Yeah.
We got to manifest better for ourselves.
Now, are you trying to be better because you're worried about karma, or are you trying to be better because you think it's just the right thing to do? Do you make the choice? So it's like, I don't want to mess with a married man anymore or a man that's involved because I wouldn't want it to happen to me.
No, for me, I just realized it's not a fitting. It was okay for me during that phase I was in because I wasn't emotionally available. But now that I'm emotionally available, it's not a situation I need to be in anymore.
It's not going to be enough.
Yeah, it's
not going to be enough. Just rub one out and keep it.
Despite what you did, despite what you gained, despite the bond or the friendship, everything like that. At the end of the day, even if there's no malice or bad blood, it is just not a good idea.
It's not. No.
Yeah.
Not everybody can understand. It's like what's between me and you is understood. Like that's one of those things where that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like
I used to have a catalog of those lines like our time together is our time together. But it works if both people are on it.
Yeah.
It don't work if one person's on it.
Exactly.
Or even if the other person that is supposed to be on it is on it, but like if they're not, then it's just a little it's a war you don't want to fight.
Yeah. Right. It's unnecessary drama. Unnecessary drama. Yeah.
Right.
Los, can I ask you a question? Yeah. What was the catalyst for you? Because I like whenever you talk about your younger days and you know what your whole phase looked like, you know, there's clearly been a lot of.
I wouldn't even call
what was that catalyst?
It's like my whole life. You mean?
Yeah, to change and become a different man to the point where now you're engaged, you're you know,
you're glowing about your woman and stuff.
Married.
I would say there's several different moments, right? I grew up in a 2-parent household, so that vision and that dream was always there.
Okay.
And then, you know, if I would highlight the moments, like when I close my eyes, I think about my high school sweetheart. You know, that was our first love and also our first toxic relationship, where you learn about, you know, what's good and what's bad in a relationship at a very young age.
You and your fiance went to prom together.
Yes, but that went to her prom together. She and I didn't go to high school together. So I had a different high school sweetheart years before I met her. And, you know, had gone through the breakups, to makeups, the cheating and all that. And I was actually the recipient of a lot of that bad negative behavior because I was a little younger than my girlfriend at the time in high school. So that kind of made me cold because, you know, the fellows will tell you, well, you know, you want to get over her. What you need to do is go, you know, take
get on to somebody else.
On the next one.
Right. So I internalized that for years. You know what I mean? Like I thought that the more women, and I think, you know, shout out to Jeff Gray, who might hopefully maybe is tuning in. But, you know, we're raised, there is a real culture that teaches you, black men, white men, men of any color, that the more women you sleep with, the more it validates who you are as a man.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us internalize that. And we internalize it.
In AIDS?
Say it again?
Y'all don't believe in AIDS?
I believe in latex.
Wow.
That
A lot of people don't.
Work.
A lot of people
It doesn't always work, but it works a lot better than rolling the dice.
Yeah.
I mean, safe sex, I've been engaged in safe sex since like 1991, and I've never had an STD or any children that, you know, that I did not plan for. So I'm a pretty strong proponent of latex. It works. And
she must have seen a bug.
So, you know, just those different moments, having different relationships, seeing the pain that I brought different women at different times that they didn't have, you know, they had a different expectation. And then I think my last failed relationship, where I really thought we were good on paper, we had spent a lot of time with each other. I think it was like a 6-year relationship off and on. And to lose that in the midst of a false accusation and all that other shit was really like a wake-up call. Like, time doesn't wait. Like, I could, you know, there's not that many good men and good women out there for us to date, right? As we've been talking. So it's like, I need to have myself in a position to win. And if my goal is to be married and start a family, and here I was at 35, I think, with ending a relationship, I was like, holy shit. Like,
I'm running out of time.
Yeah. Like, instead of getting back into another relationship, you need to figure out how to get your shit together so that the next one you're in, you're ready. So, you know, I sat down a little bit and spent some time by myself. Then I started dating as I was emotionally unavailable until I started feeling available. And then I was like, all right, these relationships are no longer going to be good because they're over there. Now I just want to look for one. And that was kind of my turning point. So it was just all the little dots along the way. And you finally realize what you want and you go for it 100%. So
I get that 1000%. I think, the storyline you laid out is literally my life, literally. From being married for 7 years, together for 11, realizing that that's not what I wanted, then kind of being emotionally unavailable for about a good year and a half, still kind of coming towards the tail end of that, and now transitioning into the phase of, during that unavailable moment, understanding what exactly I do want, what exactly I do expect, things that I am looking for in my partner. Now I'm like, okay, those bonds or connections that I made when I was emotionally unavailable don't serve me anymore. So I gotta be intentional, as you say, Los. I'm learning. I gotta be intentional with the next move I make. Like, because I'm 36. Like, I don't have time to be starting over too many more times. Okay.
And I mean, we don't like starting over. Like, everybody knows what it sucks to be vulnerable, right? Because everybody you feel the anxiety of being at risk and the pain from before the past. So that's there. And what I talk about to young men that are younger than me, I don't know if it's the same with women. Like, when you're in that, whether it's the whole phase or you're just out there hunting, whatever you want to call it, you develop a lot of habits that you might be unaware of. You know, like not texting back, like not calling back for hours because you're used to
me though. At
you know what I mean?
though.
So then I had to learn, I had to realize like, okay, hot sauce and it's not bugging. You know what I'm saying? Like they, even though Jill just threatened my life because I didn't text her back, she's not bugging.
She's not crazy.
I need to figure out where this is coming from. I'm actually bugging that I had a girlfriends prior where I thought I didn't have to speak to them every day, where 2 days could go by with no contact. So then I realized, oh, you was bugging. Now, so you know what I'm saying? So deprogramming myself and really reprog. So then when wifey calls and I'm like, oh, I'll call her back. It's like, nah, I gotta answer.
Pick up that phone. Okay.
Let me answer. Let her hear the things in the background. Tell her where you at. Ease her mind and let her go. You know what I'm saying?
And it's not even like the thing is it's not even about like checking in or having to let go of your freedom and stuff like that. You know, like it's more of a concern. Like I'm used to talking to you. I know that you call me every day between this and that. You know, like I know that all this time. So that when that time comes and that time passes and you still haven't said anything, now it's having my mind running. And that's what speaks to the maturity. Like you start to understand that, okay, I see that she may think that I'm dead.
Dead in a ditch.
Or in a ditch.
So let me pick up the phone.
I haven't called her. And it's not like, if you don't want to, then that means that maybe you're not thinking about me too. But, you know, like having that maturity to understand that this is not something that she likes. And I don't want to piss her off over some dumb shit that I can really just be like, hey, I'm in a ditch. I'm going to call you back. Oh, okay. He's in a ditch.
Well, let me shift that same thought for you. Like, let's keep that same thought. Let me just word it a different way, because fellas would be like, I'm still giving in. I still got to call her because she want to call. How about you're just doing something that your partner wants you to do and you're going to do it because you really like your partner.
Yeah.
And it's just as simple as that. Your partner wants you to call. You're going to call. Why? Because your partner wants you to do it.
And it's
not a big ask. That's on top of that. It's not a big
unreasonable.
Ask. Right. Yeah. Like if it's not like my partner wants me to go and donate blood every day after work, you know, like it's kind of like, okay, come on.
Or even when I think it becomes too far when it's like a controlling piece. Like, oh, well, if you don't call me by 5:10 every day, then now we have a problem.
Right.
That's an issue. But I think it's 1000%. I think a lot of people, men and women, women and women, people and couples, a lot of the time go into relationships like it's a battlefield instead of looking like, how can I help you? How can we help each other?
Right.
It's
who's
like,
gonna win the most?
Yeah, who's gonna make who bend more? And it's like, yo, that's not what it's about. It's I actually like you. I want to make you happy. So not make you happy, but I don't want to piss you off. I like you.
Right.
Yeah, I want to add to your happiness. So I'm willing to do whatever it is I got to do to add to your happiness because I like you. Like, get into somebody you fucking like.
Exactly. that means you got to be dating somebody that you fucking like. And a lot of us be dating people we don't actually like. We date someone we can tolerate. We date someone that takes us out on for dinners when we're hungry. We date someone who the sex is really good.
We date people who are 6'6".
We date because they're tall. We date them because they're a certain complexion, because they got a certain body part that's voluptuous. Like, but that doesn't sustain you. It won't sustain you.
Yeah, that's real.
I mean, that's one of the questions that I always in you know, finding a partner or like even dealing with someone in a situationship or anything like that. Like after a while, if I start to feel like I'm unliked, like that's one of my questions. Like, okay, I know you fuck with me, but do you even like me?
Yeah.
Like I had to ask somebody that the other day. Like, do you like me?
Like, I feel like we shouldn't be looking at the person we're trying to connect with and asking, hey, do you like me? Like,
after all this time, I just wanted to touch base. Do you like me? Not, you know, like I know you're here.
Now, if you're asking that question, you got to ask yourself that question: whether are you being insecure or is he falling off and not showing you the things?
It's usually him.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying, as long as you ask yourself, as long as you're like,
as long as the question crosses your brain.
But that's what it is. You start to question those things like that. Like, no, like even when Jill was like, you know, like we were good. So I'm not really necessarily worried about if he's with somebody else because we're good. Like we're good. But if we are like, you know, like, do you like
but sometimes you might want that affirmation. Listen, my fiance, I love saying, my fiance will sometimes stop in the middle of the sentence and be like, do you love me? And I used to be like, what the fuck she really asking me? Like, is this a decoded message I gotta decode?
It's not a
And then
trick
I'd be like,
question.
she just wants to hear it. Right? She just wants to hear it in that moment. So I'd be like, hell yeah. And that's it.
Now,
It's
I think
over.
there's a difference
But
between kind of
you
like
take me back
checking
to
in with your mate
relationships
and being like, do you love me? And that cute like check in. But if you have to question if you like
this, like that with the eye, like, do you like me? You like me, or you just regular?
If you're asking that, you might have missed some signs that he ain't really into you like that.
Yes, I know.
Right.
It's time to hold back.
Or I think that sometimes as women, I don't think we ask the question enough, do I like him?
Oh, you better preach.
Place so much importance on whether or not they like us. I rarely take inventory of whether or not I like that.
Really like you.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't think we emphasize that enough for women. You know, like we want to be liked. That's the thing as women. We want to be liked. And it's less important.
And we want to know that you want to be here, not that, like you're comfortable here and stuff like that, or that you feel forced, or maybe you feel some obligation because it's been a little time. I want to know that you are excited. I mean, for me, maybe it's like, Son always tells me, what you want him to, when you get in the house, he jumps into a hoop and do some a hoop of flame.
That's what I'm saying. How is it display? No. How do you want him to display that he likes you?
I mean, I just like when I see who I'm supposed to be with, I feel like he would be like genuinely happy to see me. Like if it was all day, and even if he had a long day, he'd come home and be like, hey babe, like, damn, I had a fucked up day.
Yeah, like you're the happy space of his day.
Or you come through and you had a bad day and you see her and she's maybe cooking for you and stuff, and you just look up and just smile like, damn, I love this girl. Woman. And I feel, Carlos, I honestly feel like you do that sometimes. Like I feel like you might see Bae and be like, yo, I just like this girl. I just love her. Look at her over there making me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
And for me, all it takes is a little caress on the back or a kiss on the cheek or something, just to be like,
you walk by and you brush up against her just because you want her to giggle and stuff, and you know that if she giggles, you're gonna smile. Like things like that just make a bitch, not a bitch, make a girl feel good. Like,
it sounds good. It sounds good now. I know there's women that don't necessarily like it like that. There's some women that think they want a man to be possessive to show he likes her, or be jealous. There's all kinds of the whole spectrum of it.
Oh, I thought you was meaning like, get over here, girl.
I like that in certain situations.
Let me put you in a headlock and drag you around.
See, no, I didn't like that. I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
But I want to, like Jill's point though, about Jill saying that whether you like the guy or not, like, is that a real thing? Like where you could find yourself dating a man that you don't really like you're not excited to see him?
Absolutely.
Why? Men would never do that unless a man is deaf. I feel like maybe projecting him.
They would do that. Men absolutely would do that. Men do
for
that.
Sex? They'll do it for sex.
For the sex. They'll do it for
a place to stay.
Not a place to stay because of like the status.
Your tax refund.
Yeah, you get an extra piece.
So what's the women's reason?
I'll be honest. There's those in the men. I think women are I think honestly, women look for companionship. And any package they can find it in, quite frankly. We're thirsty for companionship.
Are you guys feel like you're conditioned by society to be looked at as less than if you don't have a companion?
I think 1,000%. I think society has
a woman is not as hitting as a single man, right?
I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it, but I do believe society has programmed us to believe that when a woman doesn't have somebody, we're not, at 100%. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I don't believe
that. Do you feel like that sends women out? Do you feel like that makes women go, all right, I'll just settle. I got to get one just to have one on paper.
There are some women that 1,000% will just settle just because.
Societal pressures, like you said that you're the youngest of your crew and all of them are married. Like I think for a girl that might feel a little different too. Like, damn, all of my girls is out here married and stuff like that. They going on family vacations over here, and here I am still on fucking OK Tinder being catfished.
Tinder. Okay.
That shit, as a guy, I relate to you on that because as a guy, these dudes were getting married 10, 12, and 20 years ago that you saw in that picture. Mm-hmm. So when I'm like 28, 29, They're inviting me to baby showers, there's family get-togethers. I'm the single dude showing up. I gotta ask if there's gonna be any single women there. And I was like, yo, I gotta get into a relationship. And like, so like 28, I started like just looking to jump in with both feet. And now I'm like, I'm bugging. I'm forcing myself into relationships I don't even really want just to keep up with the crew.
Keep up with everybody.
Yeah. Oh. I mean, I think women's singleness is always weaponized, right? So like,
that's why you ain't got no
guys,
man.
Yeah, like one of the first things dudes will say, like if you have an opinion that is contrary to what theirs is, they'll be like, let me guess, you single? Do you got a man? And it's why does that even matter? How is that relevant?
Why is my point now relevant?
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So like,
if I wanted a man, I would have one.
Oh, okay, sis.
Sorry.
You want a man, but you don't have one. You don't have one. You want.
Tell us how you.
Right. Let's catch. Well,
you're building
that empire.
That's right. Build that empire.
Building that empire. As you should be.
Oh. Doesn't make you any less, sis. You're still building an empire.
Nah.
Okay.
You keep building. You keep building.
But no, I put up a Twitter post about it. Like the independent woman thing is all fun and beautiful. And, you know, until like days like this where I'm feeling under the weather and I just want to cuddle up underneath something. I'm feeling some type of way now. Like I'm about to jump into a relationship.
You better get them pillows and just tuck a pillow.
Just call somebody
jump into a relationship. Like, here you go, put me in a headlock. No, I'm kidding.
but those be the nights you get weak. Like,
yeah.
And you text somebody that you know you have no business talking to.
WYG.
And don't sip something. Don't have a few drinks and now it's 11 o'clock. Now you're going through your phone like, just tonight I'm gonna get them. Yeah. Hey, big head. That's what y'all gotta send out. The hey, big head text.
You up?
Why you not sleeping?
What you doing?
Because I'm coming over there. Fine.
Okay.
See? A lot of complicit. I hear a lot of complicit.
You're right.
I'm for sure. For sure.
You're 1000% right.
We're the accountability here. Like, we don't have no problems calling out our own bullshit. I think that kind of yo, we in this real.
I'll own my shit.
I own all of it.
It's like I'll take it. I'll take it.
But I'm working to do better though.
Yeah. Like I think that's why therapy doesn't work for me all the way, because I be knowing the bullshit. Like I know what I'm
still
fucking
be going for
all the time, and I got all the answers. So it's almost like I'm sitting in there allowing myself to talk to myself and paying this lady to take my money when I know that I'm out here doing some fuck shit. Like, you know, like that's why it don't work. Cause she be like, so, I mean, you said it. So,
you know better, clearly.
You know what you
It's
doing?
like keeping your physical trainer. After a couple of months, you already know the workout. You don't need your physical trainer standing over your shoulder.
Yeah.
I mean, it's once you have the tools, it's just how often you practice it.
Right.
You know, that night, instead of making that text phone call, you know, can you quickly log on to your incognito window and go on Pornhub and handle your business in 5 minutes rather than making a decision that you're gonna.
I ain't got.
You don't know who's checking your browser history.
Check mine. Check it out. You know I'm horrible. Sorry, go ahead.
That's a whole other fetish episode we ain't into right now. But, you know what I mean? Like you can take care of that urge in 5 or 10 minutes and not wake up tomorrow trying to chew your arm off and sneak it from under the pillow.
You're right.
Like, oh, what did I do?
You got around the wrong person.
The more you do it, right? The more you do it, the stronger you become at it. Like working out, it becomes a new habit.
Yeah, I mean, but like you said though, the urge for women, I don't necessarily think is always physical or sexual. A lot of it is emotional. A lot of it is based in you just want the companionship, and like Pornhub isn't going to fulfill that for you.
It's not going to hold me at night.
You know, so finding an appropriate replacement is a little bit tougher. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I could reach out to one of my homegirls and we could talk.
I would definitely come hold both of y'all to shit, okay? I will hold y'all.
You always offer, like, do you want me to come hold you? But you never really ask.
But that's not enough either. Otherwise, y'all will be doing that.
Exactly.
Y'all want this platonic holding. But
exactly.
You know, yeah. I think men, but don't get it twisted. I think men want companionship too. Don't think that men they're not emotional or they're not led by their emotion. But it's just different emotions. Like the men that go out hunting are emotional. They need to hunt. They need a woman to say, "Hey, I like you. I'll give you sex," to feel good about themselves. That's why I did it. I needed that affirmation. I wasn't getting it from my friends. I wasn't getting it from anywhere else in society. So where I got it was going to the club, a woman said, oh, you can dance, oh, you're cute, oh, you're funny. These are the words of affirmation I was
They said
hearing.
to you could
And
dance
so after a couple
Carlos.
nights, yo, let me tell you something. I grew up in the 90s. Bad Boy was on from 12:30 to 2 o'clock. It was
He
Biggie,
was up
Mace, the whole
So
P. Diddy and the
he
family.
was two-stepping. He was two-stepping.
We was out there in our in rayons, sweating it out. It ain't like the clubs now where y'all take pictures and you got a bottle. No. You was on the dance floor spilling drinks on each other. Like, no problem, brother. You good? Yeah. Yeah. 2 for 1 polyesters in the Roxy on Thursday night.
Wow.
But anyways, back to what you were saying.
I'm
I
at
just
me.
wanted to put that out there because we was like, hold on.
Wait, you're dancing now? That's what we're doing?
You guys are
There's no
rude.
pole. Wait a minute. Let's be clear. There's no pole. I'm talking, yeah, 2-step dancing.
But yeah, so like men are emotional in that way where they need to be validated with a woman saying, yes, I will sleep with you tonight.
You'd like it. You would appreciate it. You'd like it. And unfortunately, they tell us the more women, the better. And that way you're getting affirmation from your boys too. I mean, imagine I go to the club and I bag a fine woman. Not only do I got her affirmation and her giving herself to me, now the fellas the next day are treating me like a king. They might as well throw me on their shoulders and carry me around. We used to have competitions about who could have the most new sex partners in a year.
AIDS.
Condoms.
I know.
I mean, we're not going to get into practicing. I'm just saying you could have one sex partner all year and not use protection and get AIDS rather than having 100 sex partners and use protection every time.
I didn't have sex for 9 months and had one dude, and I was like, damn, I just gave it up. I would have still been celibate now.
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't have. Stop it.
No, it would have been somebody else if it wasn't him.
Our last question, and we're trying to get to this question.
That was like a little tangent. I didn't know where that came from.
It just went to the left. It went to the left immediately.
We've been trying to get to this question for some time now. How do you feel about this statement? Black men treat misogyny and violence towards women like white people treat racism. Again, how do you feel about this statement? I'm reading the whole thing. Black men treat misogyny.
I understand the statement.
Okay.
Go ahead, say it again.
Black men treat misogyny and violence towards women like white people treat racism. What does that mean to you?
So I understand the statement. To me, especially in this time we're in I'll start with the racism. I used to think that if I acted a certain way or conversed with a certain amount of enough white people in an intellectual way, they would change their minds and beliefs about their racist beliefs that they got from wherever the hell they got them from. This is not true, right? It's not. I don't believe it's black people's job to end racism. That's what they're suffering from. Racism. We're suffering from it too, but they're suffering from a different way. That's for them to work out. But we understand white privilege and how we see enough of it from our perspective. I think men have a privilege being men that they don't often see. And I think therefore they think of it like they can, it's similar where I don't have to deal with that. I'm not one of those guys. So it doesn't affect me. So I don't need to do anything different. I don't need to change my life, and I don't necessarily need to change anything about the circle that I'm around, or that's them. We should deal with that on an individual basis. And it's like white people saying, I'm not racist. Yes, but you benefit from you benefit from a racist system. So I benefit from a male dominated system, which means that I need to do, I can do a little bit more to lift up a sister that I know does not benefit the same way I do. I know that when we're talking about black businesses, to give you an example, instead of me mentioning another black business is owned by a man, maybe I need to be more thoughtful about adding a woman or women to that list, because I know they don't have the same privilege as me. Men will always look out for each other and be like, put them in another opportunity. It's not as often that a man will put a woman in the same opportunity as peers. Like, oh, I got a woman that does this. You should holler at her because she's the best in her industry. Like, we need more of that. So I understand the statement. I think it doesn't disqualify all the men that show love and that are not misogynistic.
Yeah.
But like I said earlier, there's a lot of room for improvement. Men are misogynistic. We're nurtured to be misogynistic. We've been watching women be called emotional, as if we don't have the same emotions.
Yeah, crazy.
Men still believe that women are more emotional beings than men. Now, I don't believe that. I just know from my own maturity that we feel safer talking about different emotions at different times with different people. So men have a lot of beliefs that are born in a fucked up place, and until we challenge them individually and collectively, they stay. So I get it. I understand that statement fully. I don't like it. I wish it wasn't like that, but I feel the same way about racism. I wish it wasn't like that either, but here it is.
I respect that you can come from a place of and nobody's saying that you have to be happy with the statement, but you do realize that there is some truth in the statement.
Mm-hmm.
And although
if I can't recognize that, then I can't do nothing.
Exactly. And I think that that's where our biggest concern is when we see this statement going across the internet, is that the men that don't see any truth in it, because they'd rather fight it down, they'd rather talk around the actual point of it than to realize that there is a point there, period. There is, it might not, you might not like it.
Yeah. Someone even deflect it. Oh, this is divisive. This is going against the big plan. Let's focus on the real enemy. And it's like, we're not trying to make you an enemy, but we do need to call you out on some things that we notice, even within ourselves, even in our own communities. We have to be able to point each other out.
So
we can't fix what we don't face.
Absolutely.
Right. You can't hear what you don't reveal. Here's what I think is dope about that statement and I think it would be a dope visual if you did the side-by-side comparison. I would be willing to gamble that the same thing that men say in defense of themselves, Black men say in defense of themselves in that statement, are very similar to the same thing that white people say about racism.
Same logic. It's the same logic.
It's the same logic and almost the same speaking points. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like, that's not me. That's divisive. Why are we focusing on this? We're building more walls instead of bringing it's a real issue. It's like there's shit on the floor. Either we're gonna talk about the shit.
We talk about the shit.
Or we can just keep stepping around it, but we all know shit is there.
And looking at it and trying to avoid it. Know that the fucking shit is there.
But it's not just the guys that are deflecting it. So I had to check myself in that same role. What am I doing to protect Black women? And when that topic comes up, even though it doesn't apply to me, am I avoiding it? Am I not co-signing it? Like, why aren't I co-signing it when a Black woman puts that up and explains that feeling? Why aren't I saying to her that I understand? Why am I not saying to a Black man that counters it and saying, I don't think you're really hearing what she has to say. Imagine if a white person said this to you about this. Like, drawing those parallels and keeping the conversation going so that it's healthy, I think is our responsibility as Black men and women as well. And if we don't do that, then we're being complicit. Just like you accuse a white person of this, sits and allows it to go and not be a good ally. Am I a good ally of Black women?
Exactly.
I have to keep asking myself that every single day, because I haven't always been, and I want to be better.
And not just in words. This is not to you, Los, but just in general, because I see a lot of social media talk about, I love my Black women and I protect and I support, but actions don't necessarily show. I think throughout history, we have seen Black women throw ourselves on the mercy of the court to protect the Black man, and we don't necessarily see that happen. And again, I'm not trying to generalize, because I know that there are guys who are actively protecting their queen. So I'm not coming for y'all. But I do feel like, with this new wave of this being talked about, there's a lot of people who preach on social media, I love my Black woman, I protect you, I'm here for you, but their actions ain't showing it, quite frankly. And it's like, I'm a person, I'm gonna call you out on it. And if you want to call me bitter or angry Black woman or divisive,
all the time, girl, it's fine.
So be it. But because I do love you, King, and I see you slipping, let me tell you what it is. Let me tell you what it really is, not to demean you, but to correct you.
Right. The only thing I would offer in terms of maybe making it the conversation, I'm trying to do this with other conversations that I'm leading and being a part of, is how you call people in instead of calling people out, right?
Ooh,
so and I kind of use this from my therapist, kind of put me on, like when I'm having conversations or discussion with a loved one, you want to leave room for them to be able to come to you and not necessarily be defensive, right? Whether they're going to do that or not. So one of the major things is like telling somebody what they do is different than telling them how what they did made you feel.
Okay.
So because then it also gives you a chance to really judge them. Like if I say, I don't like when you yell at me, you might be like, well, too fucking bad. You earned
That's your business, yeah.
But if I tell you when you yell at me, it makes me think of being physically or mentally abused as a child, and it makes me, go inside and I don't want to talk to anybody for 2 days, then you might pause the next time and be like, well, I don't want you to feel like that. So let me take a different tact. Listen, I don't want to yell, but when you do that, it makes so I think saying what it feels like to not be protected, what it feels like to be vulnerable out in the world and not know if there's a man going to grab you or treat you right, or those things, I hope will get us in a better place to have these conversations. Yeah. And then if someone doesn't act on that, now you really know they don't give a shit about your feelings. You just told them how you felt.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Los. You always know how to just,
I feel like I said that to somebody the other day, like, like maybe your approach is not the right approach. Maybe you should learn from seeing that every time you try to help, what you do is end up making people, like getting people to jump on you and attack you because what your message that you're trying to put out is not being relayed properly because of your approach to the subject, so if you're going to just tell me, oh, you're wrong, and not inform me as to why I'm wrong or what like whatever, and not make sense of it or try to make sense of it, then nobody's going to listen to you.
And nobody's going to receive it.
That's the same.
And we can only control ourselves. Like you don't get to control anybody else. So all you can do is own the part that you play, how you brought it up, how you communicated it. So
I gotta start communicating with a lot of people.
I just want to mention this. I know we're late in the show, but I just want to mention that Jill's face is still glowing.
Yes. Don't give it to me. Look at.
Let's put them arms up. We see them.
Let's go ahead and plug Naturally. Thank you so much for sponsoring our episode this evening.
Shout out to Naturally.
I'm just trying to earn me a free sample. That's all I'm really. That's why
I'm trying to get my sample too. I'm trying to get my
sample. Give me my sample. No, that's your face is really glowing.
I swear by Naturally. I wish I was joking. I'm the biggest fan of these products. Anytime I like a man, I always gift them Naturally's beard oil line. Because everything this company produces is always magic. She's really thoughtful about the products that she uses. She makes sure that it's sustainably sourced. And so for me, anybody who's that thoughtful in terms of what they're providing for their customers, I think should be celebrated. So shout out to Naturally.
Oh, shout out to her. She's actually tuned in. She's actually tuned in, and she said, "Lo, she got you." She said she got you.
For the whole entire environment, like it's good for your body. It's good for the environment. She uses recyclable and sustainable and all kinds of vegetables. I mean, and usually, like when you have to promo an item, you have to make it seem good, or if it's not. Like these are legit one of the products that we can literally attest for. Like it is,
literally put it on the live, like you've seen it.
And shout outs to her for even allowing us to represent her company as such.
Boom.
And you can find her at Shop Naturally on Instagram.
You had to put the mic so close to you. Let it be. No, say it again. Grab the mic.
We got a bogey online, sis. We got a bogey online.
So you are engaged. You are a grown man.
I'm telling you, I don't have a watch on, but I've been watching the clock because I hear slow jams bumping upstairs.
It's about that time.
That's all anybody ever wants, right? Like they really just want to be able to be like, after I got off my podcast, I went and go laid up with my girl. We are engaged, all new, and shit's all beautiful and great as they were before. But now they're like,
new apartment. I got there's rooms to check out.
Yes.
Blessings on blessings on blessings.
Ew, that's gross. Good luck, girl. Good luck.
Get it, girl.
You got this.
I love it.
Los, obviously you are a staple of the show. You have been on many times, and this is not going to be the last time.
Of course not.
Clearly, because you're a resident by now.
I should be resident. I think that's like my 5th or 6th episode easily.
A resident guest. Yeah. So that's kind of dope. Tell us everything that you have going on for you right now.
So truthfully, I've actually kind of pulled back a little bit. I've been really focusing, between moving and getting engaged, and I've been focusing on my own mental health. in physical health. So that's kind of been what my focus has been. I'm always usually civically engaged. I kind of pulled it back a little bit, and I know we're behind on a politics and ish episode.
We sure are. People
so
are
I'm just trying to
for it.
So there's a lot going on right now. I find myself in a weird place. Like it seems like silly season, where people come up with wild ideas, and nobody's really paying attention to certain things. So sometimes I feel like I'm wasting my breath. But I say that to say we're still gonna do it. So you can usually find me on stillreppin.com, which is a website that I run where we share politics and ish and all their podcasts and blogs about local politics in Boston and community organizing. I'm running a landscaping company in the consulting business with some partners and friends in the city of Boston. So if you need landscaping, if you need a yard, everybody that's COVID staying in their property now, if you need your landscape touched up and you want some flowers and plants, please contact Universal Groundworks. So they're on Facebook and Instagram. If you're running for office or thinking about running for office or need promotion for your business, for your campaign, you can contact me at ch2group.com, Carlos at ch2group.com. So I'm just trying to stay busy. I'm trying to build streams of income, some passive, some active, and just trying to live my best life. I ain't gonna be going back and forth with these. You know what I'm saying?
That's
I hear you. Man, listen, I hear you. Don't got to go back and forth with them because it's not worth it. I had to cut myself off today from digging.
Sometimes I enjoy going back and forth though.
There's a little bit of entertainment behind it. There's a bit of entertainment,
especially when you got time.
Yeah, I got a lot of time, and I keep it 100. Like I'm not really debatable because I'm not saying anything that's just opinion. I'm usually using facts. So I know they hate when I do it, but sometimes it has to be done. Sometimes you gotta light a little fire under them. But aside from that, I'm really thinking about I'm just trying to start a family and love this woman the best I can and love myself. And I feel like everything else is falling into place.
She's so beautiful.
Let's just go into final thoughts. Let's just go
to final thoughts. This is stupid.
They're gonna have me here blushing and shit.
I don't want it.
You gotta get off this podcast. And you're gonna go right on OK Tinder, right? As soon as you
OK Tinder.
Plenty of OK Tinder. That's what
OK Tinder. No, I actually started slowly deleting the apps because I can't do this bullshit.
Slowly deleting. I catch there's meaning in those words. Slowly deleting.
Like one.
Not completely giving up yet. We need it as a pastime. We do need it as a pastime.
That's like dropping dead slowly, right? Slowly deleting the apps. I got it. I see you, sis. I got it.
Final words, Joe Badu.
Just say what you mean and mean what you say. That's all I'm saying.
That's it.
That's a nigga back.
She hit me with one of my final thoughts. Jeez.
With a one-liner.
Who's next?
Oh,
you on the main screen.
I usually end it. That's what I'm like, what? I guess for me and the vibe that I've been on, and after today, I'm still going to be stuck on me, myself, and I. That's all I got in the end. That's what I found out. And it ain't no need to cry.
Oh, you're going to.
Because I took a vow that from now on, I'm going to be my own best friend. Okay? There we have it.
I gotta let that sit.
Recite the whole verse.
The whole verse. Do you need me to get to the verse too in the chorus?
Take it to the bridge.
Take it to the bridge. Let's
go. We'll leave Carlos with the final thought. My final thought is, FaceTime people. You really gotta be out here FaceTiming people, even when you don't want to. You gotta FaceTime them because it's catfishing, and that's.
So I was gonna say, don't go chasing waterfalls.
I love it.
No, but on a serious note, I appreciate you guys having me on. I was talking about my fiance who I love dearly. But I want to share that love with you three women as well. I've known you all for a different period of time, but I watched from afar. I've watched you up close. I've had different conversations, some superficial and some very deep with you guys. And I really love you three and appreciate what you guys do. I think that it's probably easy to overlook the contribution you guys make to people's lives and to the city of Boston and beyond. But y'all really have been doing dope shit. Like, Sauce, I really found your podcast before I ever met you or knew who you were. Found out you was my neighbor. And I was like, yo, this shit is like buzzing. Like, women are gonna love this. And now I think not only women love it, but I think men love it too. And you're really doing a service. So the fact that you guys have such a strong sisterhood, you know, some of you are parents, you're moguls, you're businesswomen, you're professional. I mean, you cover a range of dopeness in humanity that's not always seen.
Ooh, I want dopeness in humanity.
I want to acknowledge that. I want to honor it. And I want to say thank you for you guys.
Clap. That was beautiful. Well, thank you, King.
Every time.
Now we're all glowing.
Look, I'm all glowing now. Like.
Okay, because of naturally.
Mine melted though. I feel like mine melted.
Oh, what did you? Oh.
Listen, when I get my naturally sample and I put it in my beard, all my podcasts are gonna be like this. They're gonna be
to the side, so you can see shine.
That's how I'm gonna talk to everybody on the podcast.
Check the shine.
I got that
Check the
naturally.
shine.
You know, what you put on your face? That naturally. Like you like, wait, no, what are you putting? That naturally. No, it is called naturally. We didn't say where you guys can find. We said still repping. Let's Get Naked is in season 2.
Yes.
Yep.
I took a little moment, but I'm back. I'm back, baby.
You got to take a break. And you are also just doing great things, and you'll be on Spark FM very soon too. We got to talk too.
Oh yeah, we do.
And
let me just throw out my personal social media.
Yes.
On Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Yeah, Ms. Mofilla, MZMOPHILA, Vicky, because I'm always rapping when I do it. So yeah, make sure y'all follow me on all those platforms, and like she said, Let's Get Naked and all that good stuff.
I love that name.
If you 6'6", get in them DMs.
Stop it. No, I'm actually saying we're done with 6'6" now. We're done. 6'6" is out the window.
6'5", get in them DMs.
6'5", 6'4", all of them. 6'6".
Get out. The
6'6"
devil.
is 2. It's only missing one more 6. That means you're the fucking devil.
You're the devil, clearly. Exactly.
Don't forget to follow Henny and Hotwings across all social media. And people, I encourage you guys to listen to these podcasts with a friend because they are conversation worthy. So it's not just a little cute slogan that we have. Actually, like, invite a friend and say, hey, let's listen to this podcast. They talk some really great shit. You can find us across all social media at Henny and Hotwings or Henny and Hotwings podcast. You can just Google it. It will pop up. It is, we are SOE in this bitch, okay? And follow myself, Miss Hot Sauce, to you across all social media too, as well. And Spark FM online if you want good music for urban and Caribbean music in New England and about the area. Then you just tune into sparkfmonline.com. Just take a listen. No purchase necessary. Just listen.
Boom.
Motherfuckers.
Where they can find you at, Joe? Where they can find you at?
And you can find me on Instagram at Jill_Badu and on Facebook, Jill Badu.
Just straight to it, you know?
With that said, people, we are officially out of here. Bum, bum, bum. Come back next Friday, each and every Friday, 9 p.m. on Facebook. Blah.
Lit.